Hello everyone, this is Katie here. In this video, I'm going to read and explain you today the story of a boy who knew not fear. This is the first part of the video. The second part of the story and the video will be given later. So watch the video from beginning till end. Hear it attentively and understand the story. Happy digital learning. Good day. In this chapter, a boy who knew not fear, we are going to learn about the life and brave deeds of Admiral Nelson's life. We are going to learn about Admiral Nelson's life. So I'm reading out the text from your textbook. Pay attention. On 29 September 1758 in Norfolk, which is in England, a boy was born. He never knew what fear was. That's when he was a very fearless child. This boy's name was Horatio Nelson. Once as a child, Horatio went to stay at his grandmother's place. He wandered away from the house in search of bird's nest. When dinner time came, the boy did not return. His family became anxious. They feared that he had been kidnapped by gypsies or that he had met with an accident. You know who are gypsies? Gypsies are nomadic or free-spirited person who travel traditionally by living on internal trade, and fortune telling. Gypsies speak a language that is Romani, that is related to Hindi and are believed to have originated in South Asia. These are wandering people, these are gypsies. So they are gypsies. So they search in every direction, just as the searchers were about to give up. They found little Nelson sitting quietly by the side of a brook. Brook means a small stream. That's when he was since childhood. Horatio Nelson was very fearless and brave child. I wonder, child, said his grandmother, that hunger and fear did not drive you home. Fear, grandmother, exclaimed the boy. I never saw fear. What is it? Horatio was a born leader. His spirit of leadership was seen even in his school days. In the garden of his boarding school, there grew a remarkable fine pear tree. The tree was laden with fruits and was very tempting to the boys. No one dared to help themselves to the pears because of the fear of their master. Horatio volunteered to get the pears for his friends. Volunteered means willingly offered, doing something. So Horatio volunteered to get the pears for his friends. He jumped out of the window and gathered as much of the fruit as he could carry. He returned and gave the pears to the boys, not keeping one for himself. That's mean whatever danger he faced, whatever difficulties he does, he take it for his friends, not for peers or to eat peers. That's why he didn't keep one for himself. I only took them, he explained, because the rest of you were afraid to take the risk. Horatio was known for his sense of honor. For his sense of honor. Horatio was known for his sense of honor. His nobility was also clear in his early life. Once he and his brother William set out on a horse to go to school. There had been a heavy snowfall. William persuaded Nelson. Persuaded means convinced. William persuaded Nelson to go back home with him, saying that it was not safe to go on. If that be the case, said Reverend Mr. Nelson, the father of the boys, you certainly shall not go to school, but make another attempt, and I will leave it to your honor. If the road is dangerous, you may return. But remember, boys, I leave it to your honor. Honor means the prestige. Honor means the daringness, the heartily emotions of living, keeping the head high. The show was really deep. The snow was really deep. That's in very deeply, very high, thickly it collected there. The snow was really deep, and William wanted to return home again. Horatio, however, did not agree. We must go on, he said. Remember, brother, it was left to our honor. And Horatio reached school. When he was only 12 years old, young Nelson decided to serve under his uncle, Captain Morris Suckling. Uncle Suckling was a naval officer. You know naval officer who work on ship. Captain Suckling said, what has poor Horatio done? Who is so weak to lead such a difficult life at sea? A cannonball may knock off his head. Although a small and sickly child, Nelson was not frightened. That means in child, Nelson health was not good and he was weak child, but still he was a brave child. Though physically he was weak, but mentally and by heart he was a tiger. Although a small and sickly child, Nelson was not frightened. His father took him to London and put him into the Reasonable. Reasonable is the name of the ship of the line of the Royal Navy. So, Nelson's father put him into the ship Reasonable. When he reached there, Horatio's uncle was not on the ship. So there was no friendly voice to greet him on board. The big ship, homesick and depressed, he passed some of the most miserable days of his life on the Reasonable. So he was in the service of the Reasonable his father has put. The officers treated the sailors with harshness. The treatment made life even more difficult for the sailors. Here Horatio was disappointed with the Royal Navy because of their behavior. He was separated from all his loved ones. That means he was not with his family, his friends and all. So he was not liking it. He was separated from all his loved ones. More importantly, he was away from his brother William, who was his schoolmate and constant companion. Here he had to also suffer the hardships of a very young sailor boy. So he was in the service of a sailor boy in the ship Reasonable, but as he was a very young boy, and you can understand as a boy in the ship, it's very difficult to spend life. Here he had to also suffer the hardships of a very young sailor boy. But his courage did not fail him. Later, this lad went on a voyage of discovery to the North Pole. That means later, this lad means this boy, Horatio, went on a voyage for the discovery of North Pole. During the journey, all went well until the ship near the polar regions. You know polar regions, extreme north side where only snow is there. During the journey, all went well until the ship reached the polar regions. There the team was stuck in the ice and could not move. Young Nelson was put in command of one of the boats sent out to find a passage to open water. Here he saved the life of the crew of another boat which he had been attacked by walruses. In the North Pole you will find bear type huge animal which are called walruses. So his crew members were attacked by walruses, but he saved them also. He fought with walruses. Young Nelson was put in command of one of the boats sent out to find a passage to open water. Here he saved the life of the crew of another boat which he had been attacked by walruses. However, his most extraordinary adventure during this polar cruise was a fight. He stole away from his ship with a friend to hunt a bear. However, his most extraordinary adventure during this polar cruise was a fight with a bear. So the most extraordinary adventure during this polar cruise was a fight with a bear. And you know that these polar bears are very dangerous. They attack humans and they can eat them away also. One night, he stole away from his ship with a friend to hunt a bear. They were soon lost in the thick fog. Early morning, the weather began to clear. The captain saw them fighting with a huge bear. The captain signaled Nelson and his friend to return. Nelson's friend begged him to obey the captain. They had no ammunition. Ammunition means weapons which a soldier should have. They had no ammunition, but Nelson wanted to continue the fight with the bear. Never mind, he cried excitedly. Let me give a blow with the butt of my musket. Musket means that rifle, the back part of it is called the butt, and musket, a light gun with a long barrel. Never mind, he cried excitedly. Let me give a blow with the butt of my musket, and we shall overpower him. The captain saw the danger and fired his gun. This frightened the bear away. Nelson then had to face the consequences, mean the result of his disobedience to the captain. He was severely scolded by his captain. When asked the reason for fighting a bear, he replied, Sir, I wish to kill the bear so that I might carry the skin to my father. At the young age of 19, he became a second lieutenant, which is a post in the military. At the age of 19, he became a second lieutenant, and at 20, he became a commander. Before he was 21, because of his courage and enthusiasm, he had gained all the honors of the service that anyone could get. That's within 21 years of age, he had went up to a very high rank due to his courage and service. His kind treatment of the men and boys under him made Nelson the best loved man in the British Navy. He ruled by love rather than by fear. When at the age of 47, he was seriously wounded in the Battle of Trafalgar, the whole of England plunged into grief. That's when the English people loved him so much. When he was wounded in the Battle of Trafalgar, the whole England plunged into grief. That's when they become sad. And they started praying for his getting well soon. Although England won the battle, it lost its noblest of heroes. That's when they lost they lost in this battle Horatio, the bravest of all the soldiers they have ever get. Although England won the battle, it lost its noblest of heroes. The last words of the hero who had won some of the greatest sea battles for his country were. That's mean what were the last words of the commander Horatio? Let's see. Thank God I have done my duty. This was his last word. Throughout his naval career, Nelson was wounded many times in combat. Combat means in defending. Nelson was wounded many times in combat, losing an arm and the sight in his right eye. As a person, he was at times thoughtless, but he was enthusiastic. As a person, He was at times thoughtless, but he was enthusiastic, patriotic, as well as brave. He was noted for his ability to inspire and bring out the best in his men. His qualities set him apart from his contemporaries. Contemporaries mean the person who lived in the same time when he lived. His qualities set him apart from his contemporaries. This is the reason he is still remembered. So, it has been brought to us by Dr. Orison Swett Marden. So, I hope you have understood this story and you have been aware of the courageous life of Admiral Nelson. So, keep on watching my video. Happy digital learning. Goodbye.